Okay, let's go. This is round 4 of this tournament, and this is the third round of this day. So this was on Saturday. I played a game, classical game from 9 to like 1, then or maybe 12, something like that. Then 2 to 6 or so, and then from 8 to 11, 12 or something. It's this is a long game, a long day. So I was tired, and I assume my opponent was tired as well. Uh, I I'm not I'm not the youngest, of course, clearly, but I'm also not very old compared to a lot of the players in a classical tournament. I had like knew a couple of people that were of my age, and I had like my previous opponent was probably approximately of my age, but most of them are old people, like actually old. Um, and I mean, this opponent from round 4 was definitely an older person. So I assumed that I had a slight advantage with stamina, at least. Uh, so I was I went into this game with 1 out of 3 spoilers, kind of, if you didn't see the last one. And I was hoping to get 2 out of 4 here, as white as well. My opponent I actually recognized before the game because they played in one of the external competitions with my chess club against our club. Not against me, but against one player from my team. We got stomped that game, but it wasn't my fault, I don't think. Yeah, I believe I won that game, but my team lost. Like usual. But yeah, I played white in this game. My opponent, the organizers were again kind to me. So this opponent only had a rating of like 1870, so that's only like 60 odd points above me. The rating is climbing down, like slowly. Actually, for you it should be like this, but I'm here, so this doesn't really help. But yeah, e4. My opponent played c5, and I play a Smith-Morra here. Right, this is called Smith-Morra, yeah. And a lot of people, for some reason, know how this works in the Danish gambit. So this. There's a nice counter gambit which 7% of people play, which is d3. And this is, I mean, if you see a lot of highly rated players also play this, and this is better for white, of course, but it's pretty playable. This is not playable, but people do seem to play it. d3, yeah. This is not playable, and I'll show you. Okay, this is playable. I thought it was not at all playable. But yeah, I do know a little bit about it. Yeah. Oh, and let's get rid of that. I do know how to play this to some extent. You basically build up a Maroczy bind, and Engine thinks that the best thing that black can do is turn this into a Kalashnikov with e5 and d6, and just sack a pawn here at some point and try to fight. But yeah, d6, that doesn't happen, and now I get a very comfortable position. h3, e6. My opponent just pretends like we're playing a Najdorf, but I have this move, and my knight isn't here, which is also relevant, because now I can play the move bishop f4 and not fall for e5. and puts pressure here. Maybe if the bishop ever moves back, I can take it in cases. So yeah, bishop f4 is one of the main reasons why this knight might not want to be on d4. Instead I have pawn here, which is useful always. And this knight will get there at some point. It will definitely go to f3. And it might even go to d4 after that, but after the bishop moves. Also note h3 was to do this after knight h5. It also prevents this after if I wanted to play bishop e4. e3 I wasn't certain yet, but after e6 I think this is the place to be. Bishop e7. I just realized that this is exactly what, or this is what happened in game 2 as well. I put the bishop here. Yeah, I mean I also got c5 in that game, and I played a delayed Alapin, and I got kind of a similar position. Bishop f4, bishop e7, yeah, and knight f3. Knight c6, we're just playing opening moves, not really all that interesting. Castle, queen c7 first. I played rook c1, then castle. Oh sorry, no, not yet. Again. So the rook, I think the rook wants to be on c1, and if not, it wants to be on d1. But I mean I can do that. The king won't be on the e-file, so a rook on e1 is useful, but not the best, I don't think. So I just played rook c1. It also puts pressure here. My opponent didn't like that. Especially since I can now play, I'm threatening knight b5. So after castle, knight b5, take, and I win this back, because the queen is hanging. This might be playable for my opponent though. I mean, I'll win this pawn, it's fine. So my opponent actually played queen b6 here, which cost them a move, but that's fine. Bishop, queen d2, defending, and yeah, not sure what else. I want to be on the d-file, so I really don't have any better options. There was maybe a knight a4 possibility, don't really care. Queen e2, and now they castled, yeah. I played a3 because, well, what white generally wants to do in these kinds of positions is attack on the queen side, or the center. The king side is not that easy to defend, but or not that easy to attack, but the queen side and the center are, and especially actually the center. But I think b4 is a good move to claim space, and maybe prepare c5 as well, in theory. Yeah. a3, knight to d7, b4 also prevents knight c5. But it goes to e5 actually, which is also, that also makes sense. So this, I believe I'm not forced to take. I can just play bishop e2. However, I do want to keep my bishop on this diagonal. So if they take, I have to take back with the bishop and then move back immediately as well. So I'd rather just take, and after knight takes, I take with the bishop, I think, as well. But maybe then I play bishop e2, it's unclear exactly. But they just took with the d-pawn, which is also interesting. It does give me a great yeah, queenside majority and slight attack possibilities. And this bishop is really dead now. And I do need to move my bishop. Goes here. Counter tempo. And the knight goes to d4, which is the reason why this makes sense. I don't have to take. I don't have to take at all. But this is kind of annoying, which I saw. It took me a while to see, honestly. But I did see it eventually. And I believe I immediately decided to take. Yes. Take on d4, and the knight goes to a4. Sorry, I'm missing a move because the queen isn't there. Oh, sorry, I didn't immediately take. That's the point. I played c5 in between. Queen goes to c7, then I take, and then the knight goes to a4. And the next move I'm planting it on b6. And there's also the idea of planting it after that on d6. But for that I need to move e5. Probably. So my knight definitely goes to b6. And let's see. Let's look at a couple of moves to get that there. Bishop b7, bishop d7, and knight b6. Now, I think I'm pretty much in a dominant position here. I kind of want to find a way to win this pawn, and maybe do this, maybe both. And I realized that e5 was the way to try to win this pawn, to prevent e5 from black. However, if my opponent does play e5, then I can play bishop c4 and put pressure here, and knight d5, and or knight d5. So it's unclear if I want to play d5 or want my opponent want to play e5 or want my opponent to play e5. I decided that I actually wanted to play e5, but that it's unclear. Might be better if my opponent plays e5. I didn't play it immediately because I can't, of course. But I played queen e. Oh, sorry, it's black's move. So bishop c6, didn't play e5, and I prepped e5 here with queen e2. And maybe there's something here. Some slight thing. Doesn't really matter, it's just checkmate. Yeah. Wait, sorry. Doesn't really matter how the rook moves because it's attacked and now it's this. And now here I play e5 with this plan. But it does allow this bishop to get active, sort of. It's the only piece of blacks that's any good. Yeah, and so my opponent decides to try to trade it off immediately. I can win a pawn here, but then the d pawn runs. Oh, and I lose e5, which was kind of an issue. So I did want that, but I also don't want to not take twice. Because if I play, like, I can also just play this, f4, and then this knight can't move anywhere, so it's stuck. So I really need to win this pawn as well. But that's easier said than done, because now, for example, d3. So I didn't actually take immediately, despite that being interesting. Because this is the only active piece that black currently has. I played... What did I play? I just played f4 immediately. And then later I want to take here twice. But now queen c6. Queen is getting active. Right? No, sorry, queen c6 happens later, f6. Yeah. And this is kind of the issue. Sort of. This pawn gets isolated, so I really need to do this. But after knight c4 it can get taken. Maybe that's good though, if I play this, take, because the pawn is attacked and it's not that easy to defend. And like this, but I mean queen e4 isn't good. Like something like that. And play this position. Which should definitely be good for me. Wait, why did I go to... I mean, this is just way better, of course. And then something like this. And just play this. I think it's probably a draw, but yeah. Definitely screwed up a bit. Probably somewhere. I mean... Maybe I should be the one to take if they... Actually, now this is good for me, right? Maybe not. I was also kind of afraid that this is an opposite color bishop endgame. So even if it's good for me, it might not even be winning. That was the main concern actually why I didn't play this. So f6. I played rook e1, which, I mean, this rook was not doing all that much anymore, and here it's doing something. But I don't think this might actually have been a mistake as well. Because they take, and I take. And now there are some issues with bishop h4 in the future. But first they take my rook, and I can't take here, because then I lose the e-pawn, because they take my bishop. And I thought, well, last time as white I got burned for not taking with the king, so let's take with the king, which is absolutely terrible. In this variation, after rook f8, queen e2, and rook f8, king g1, it's the same. These are the same exact positions, clearly. But the issue is that you can play bishop h4 in between, not immediately give a check. And I don't actually lose a pawn technically, but like the rook gets in, which is really a big issue. It's not actually checkmate, but it's really painful. Because I get this, and I'm okay here. My opponent probably played a slight inaccuracy here. I think rook f8 is just better than this, but queen e7 is fine. And here I take, and take again. I win a pawn, save my knight, and maybe I have, like, maybe these pawns are fast, but I mean they're not really. Queen g5, and yeah, I need to really go defend in this as well. So I go back. So 2 seconds. Okay. I'm not gonna do the next one immediately afterwards. I'm gonna need a drink. Yeah. Okay, defending. But it does allow queen g3, And queen h2 I absolutely cannot allow. I didn't really look at much else my opponent could play. I just now realized that this pawn is hanging, which doesn't matter, but I have to play king g1. I cannot allow this, because then rook f8 and I lose a queen. Right, I mean the only other move that is theoretically possible is this, or actually I can delay it by a move. Oh, but this is also checkmate. So no, I absolutely good. So any other move, yeah, this is just checkmate. I can't allow queen h2. So king g1. h6 I had written. No, sorry, that's not true. We're at move 31 as black. d3. Yeah, okay, no, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, and I can try to trade the queens, and I think that would be okay. But the pawn is really scary, actually. I did try it, but then I lose this pawn. So yeah, now I'm starting to have a bit of a problem with the d pawn, and I can't take because of queen e1. Right? Yeah, rook takes queen e1 and I lose my rook. And queen takes, you can take, and I can't take back because of queen e1 again. Also kind of important to note, no, not rook takes. That's, wait, this is fine. Wait a second. Was it this then? No, right? There's queen here. I mean, this is a draw. I don't have queen f2, of course. Maybe not. Huh? Did I miss that? Maybe it's this. No, right? Can't block. I'll look at it in the engine later. I believe I calculated I couldn't take on d3 for some reason. Some reason that evades me now. Actually, it might be. No, I was looking at bishop f2, but that doesn't work, and I didn't see that in the game as well. But yeah, instead I played rook f1, which is a bad move, because the rook needs to be here to prevent the promotion. This does threaten mate, of course, but after h6, that's where h6 came in, it's nothing. And now I take here. The second thing that it does is kind of try to play rook f7, but it doesn't matter. The pawn is really fast. I mean, I can get back king h7, sorry, and queen f3. No, rook d1. I can get back with my queen, but it's just not enough. Queen e3 check, king h1. I have to go to h1 because otherwise you get to give this check and I need to go to h1 regardless, and the bishop is better there, so I have to go here. Also note that that is mate, because I forced a take, and you promote to rook with mate, of course, not with a queen, because you should do minor promotion if possible at all times, right? Rook mate, of course. So king h1, queen e1 check, and now queen f1, and it looks like I'm kind of holding. However, I'm not. Queen takes f1, I have to take, and bishop e1. So the pawn is promoting, and I don't have anything. There was never any chance to play knight c6, knight c4 to get back. So the only real chance I have is this. Unfortunately, this is a full queen, and this is only a rook. I do actually win a rook here, but it's not enough. Rook f8. My opponent does actually try. Rook g1, keeping the pin. Queen d2, unpinning. I queen. They take and I take, and now I'm losing. However, one thing I thought in the game that made it not completely over. So I went here, here, here. I thought that if I could get this pawn, just this pawn, there might be a fortress here. With the with the whatever. Can't think of the word. It's only a might. It doesn't. It could easily not be a fortress, but I was definitely playing for that. So I actually kept on playing, and I also because I couldn't believe that after that opening I was losing. But yeah. Where are we? Rook takes f2. Is the last move. Here. Yeah, queen c1 check. Queen a3. I try to take the pawn. Trade it for this one, but my opponent doesn't actually accept. And I can't push because then they just take here. I try rook e5. I'll just play the moves. It doesn't really matter because I don't win the pawn. There is still something. I don't play g4. Could have been. Doesn't matter. Queen e2 check. Go back. Queen d3. h4. King h5. Rook f5 check, go back. Well, that's first perpetual. e3. Rook f1. We're already like close to midnight right now, by the way. Started at 9 today. It's midnight. Actually, it's not midnight. I believe it might have only been 11. Still, that's 14 hours of chess. It's getting to both of us. E3, rook e1, queen e2 check, king g1. And queen d2, rook a1, queen f2 check, and e2. And here, I mean, there's clearly not a fortress, but there might be a. If the king takes, I might have a, what's it called, a crazy rook. But my opponent goes here. But I believe this might be a draw, because if I ever lose my rook, it's stalemate. So I can do stuff like, well, I mean, that's a bad example. I can do stuff like this and this, and like force my opponent to try to run away, which isn't as easy as it seems. I can do that even. I can't take the queen though, that would be losing. I can do this, and I don't see the way out, except maybe, no, this is fine. I can still do this as well. Also, I can probably take the pawn, but after king h4 I just resign, and I'm 1 in 4. Yeah, this is just mate in 4, of course. Let's take a look. I mean, yeah. Wait, where did it say plus 1.4. Not, no, maybe it just thought for a bit. I mean, my position here is great. Come on. Okay, yeah. Kind of crashing, but it's fine. I mean, this all makes sense. A3 is good, but castle's fine. Rook c1 has to go. Ooh. Why is this position so good? Do you lose the d pawn? That would be insane. Bishop. I guess so. But this is also good. A3. b4. Doesn't like taking, although it makes sense to me. Doesn't like taking again. Queen b2, yeah, makes sense. f4 also makes sense to me. Rook d1 makes sense. c5 makes sense. I played c5. And then I took... yeah, engine agrees. Knight a4, knight b6. And now f4. Yeah, I was thinking either f4 or e5 in this position. And I went for... or in the next position actually. Apparently it's good. I was thinking about f4 as well. And rook e1 of course. But I was assuming that the f file would open up. Oh, you can... huh? Wait. Engine claims this and this is not good. Oh. Okay, I missed 97. Okay. Makes sense. And this is... yeah, this is bad. So I do actually need to take the pawn. Otherwise... I'm just worse. f6, okay, yeah, I do have to take, and rook e1 is fine, not great, loses most of my advantage. Bishop takes c5. Does the knight get trapped? Wow, I mean, I get my pawn back, pawns. Right. Right? Oh, it's just perpetual. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I get at least one pawn back. And this is just a draw, unfortunately. Okay. Good that my opponent also missed it. Yeah, knight c4 makes sense. And now I'm just worse, and rook takes f1 is playable? I thought it wasn't playable because you lose a pawn. I mean, you do lose a pawn. But it's just fine because you reroute the knight. So the ancient line is that, take knight c4, knight b6, knight c4. And the knight will go to d6 at some point, and it's just a draw. The knight is good. Okay. Yeah, king takes is terrible, of course, clearly. Yeah, this is bad, but it's not completely losing. And queen e7 is apparently a fine way to play it. And I can't take again, unfortunately, but... queen d3. Yeah, makes sense. Just sack the pawn. But I'm too materialistic, I have to play this, of course. Okay, you can actually take on d3. Oh, I'm forced to go for a perpetual. because this is a forced checkmate. That's the point. I'm fairly certain I saw this. Okay, but rook of 1. Yeah, that's apparently the second move, but that's completely losing. All completely losing. Bishop f6, that's awful, that's mean. This gives me a slight chance, but probably not. Wait, 97. Weird, you're down a queen, you're playing 97. Okay. I mean, at least I played this part well, the part where I was completely losing. And none of this matters. However, I do want to see how you get out of this. Oh, you block with the queen here. Yeah, okay. That would have been cool though. But yeah. Maybe my next opponent will be a bit closer to me in rating. Hint, they won't be, but yeah, that's what you get for being low rated. You get, or relatively low rated, you only get opponents that are higher rated than you. And this is what happens when at this level. It's not that you lose a mid game. This might be a better example. It's not like you lose a mid game. You might even win a mid game, as seen in game 1 and 3. Against players with a higher rating, you can easily win a mid game, but then it's the end game. The end game gets you. But yeah, I have 2 more games here. See you there.